Richard Widmark was not just another actor from old Hollywood. He was one of the toughest and most respected stars of his time. People remembered him for his sharp voice, serious face, and powerful acting style. He became famous during the golden age of Hollywood, especially in crime films and Western movies. But behind the strong image was a man who worked extremely hard and expected the same from everyone around him. Widmark believed acting was a serious craft, not just a way to become famous. Because of this, he often became frustrated with actors who acted carelessly, arrived late, or treated movie sets like playgrounds. Even though he rarely spoke badly about people in public, stories from Hollywood insiders suggested that there were several stars he strongly disliked. These feelings did not come from jealousy. Instead, they came from his deep respect for acting and discipline. Before becoming a Hollywood legend, Widmark came from a simple background. He was born in Minnesota and spent much of his childhood moving from place to place because of his father's work. His family later settled in Illinois, where he became a bright student and a talented speaker. During college, he discovered acting and slowly fell in love with performing on stage. He was shy at first and worried people would not take him seriously, but his passion for drama grew stronger every year. He later moved to New York City and began working in radio dramas. Those years taught him discipline, patience, and professionalism. Unlike many stars who enter Hollywood through beauty or fame, Widmark entered through hard work and dedication. That serious attitude stayed with him for the rest of his life and shaped the way he viewed other actors. Widmark's rise in Hollywood happened very quickly after he appeared in the movie Kiss of Death in 1947. Even though it was his first film, his performance shocked audiences and critics. He played the violent criminal Tommy Udo, and one famous scene where he pushed an old woman in a wheelchair down the stairs became one of the most unforgettable moments in film history. Many viewers were frightened by how believable he looked on screen. The role earned him an Academy Award nomination and made him famous almost overnight. But Widmark himself was uncomfortable after watching his performance. He later joked that when he first saw himself in the movie, he felt terrible and thought he looked awful. Still, the success opened doors for him in Hollywood. He signed a long contract with 20th Century Fox and quickly became one of the busiest actors in the business. Unlike some actors who enjoyed the glamorous side of Hollywood, Widmark stayed focused on work and family. He married Jean Hazelwood, the woman he loved deeply, and remained loyal to her for decades. Friends described him as honest, serious, and hardworking. He also cared greatly about treating people with respect. During the filming of No Way Out, he worked with Sidney Poitier at a time when racism was still very strong in America. Widmark played a racist character in the film and reportedly apologized to Poitier after difficult scenes because he did not want him to think those hateful words reflected his real beliefs. Poitier later said Widmark was one of the first people in Hollywood who treated him kindly and invited him into his home. This showed the difference between Widmark's harsh movie characters and the man he truly was in real life. Even though Richard Widmark was respected across Hollywood, he was also known for having very strong opinions about professionalism. He believed actors should come prepared, respect the script, and work seriously on set. This attitude caused tension between him and several famous stars. One of the names most often connected to Widmark's dislike was Frank Sinatra. The two worked together in the 1968 movie The Detective, but their personalities were completely different. Sinatra was famous for his charm and confidence, but he also had a reputation for arriving late and wanting scenes filmed quickly. Widmark, on the other hand, believed acting required preparation and discipline. Reports from crew members suggested that Widmark became frustrated with Sinatra's casual attitude toward filmmaking. To Widmark, acting was almost sacred. He respected directors, writers, and the effort that went into making a movie. Seeing someone treat it lightly bothered him deeply. Around the same time, Widmark also became linked to rumors about disliking Marlon Brando. Widmark admitted Brando was talented, but he disliked the unpredictable style that came with method acting. Brando often changed lines, improvised scenes, and ignored traditional acting rules. Many actors admired that style, but Widmark preferred structure and focus. He believed too much chaos hurt the quality of a performance. While the two men never became enemies publicly, Hollywood gossip often suggested that Widmark could not stand Brando's behavior. What made these stories interesting was that Widmark himself was never a loud or dramatic person. He rarely attacked anyone openly in interviews. Most stories about his dislikes came from co-stars, assistants, or film insiders who noticed his reactions behind scenes. That quiet personality made the rumors feel even more believable because Widmark was not known as a man who created fake drama for attention. Another actor connected attention with Richard Widmark was Tony Curtis. During the filming of The Long Ships in the 1960s, the two stars reportedly struggled to get along. Tony Curtis was handsome, stylish, and loved by fans, but he also had a reputation for caring deeply about his appearance. Widmark, however, cared most about strong performances and hard work. According to stories from a movie set, Widmark felt Curtis focused too much on image and not enough on acting itself. Crew members claimed Curtis spent a great deal of time on makeup and appearance, while Widmark preferred to stay focused on scenes and dialogue. This difference in personality created distance between them. Widmark reportedly believed some actors care more about fame than talent, and he hated that attitude. Similar rumors surrounded his relationship with Robert Mitchum. Mitchum was one of Hollywood's coolest and most relaxed stars. He often joked about acting and claimed he barely prepared for his roles. Fans loved his calm personality, but Widmark saw things differently. Widmark believed every role deserved effort and concentration. Hearing Mitchum speak casually about acting reportedly irritated him greatly. The contrast between the two men could not have been stronger. Mitchum seemed relaxed about everything, while Widmark treated every performance seriously. Still, it is important to understand that Widmark was not a hateful person. He simply had very high standards. Many actors who worked with him also described him as kind, intelligent, and respectful. He was especially admired for his loyalty to family. Unlike many Hollywood stars, Widmark avoided scandals and stayed married to the same woman for over 50 years. He spent most of his free time at home instead of attending parties or chasing fame. Because of this, he often felt disconnected from the more glamorous and careless side of Hollywood culture. Perhaps the most surprising name connected to Richard Widmark's frustrations was Kirk Douglas. Both men were powerful actors with strong personalities, which may have been a reason tension existed between them. Douglas was known for his loud energy, dramatic performances, and desire to dominate scenes. Widmark reportedly believed Douglas tried too hard to steal attention in movies. While many audiences loved Douglas for his intense style, Widmark preferred a more controlled and natural performance. Stories from Hollywood suggested Widmark felt there was too much ego involved in some of Douglas's acting choices. Whether all these stories were true or exaggerated remains difficult to know, but they became part of Hollywood legend over the years. What is clear is that Widmark valued humility and professionalism above almost everything else. He respected actors who arrived on time, knew their lines, and worked together as a team. This philosophy shaped his entire career. Despite rumors about actors he disliked, Widmark continued building an impressive film career to the 1950s and 1960s. He starred in famous movies like Panic in the Streets, Broken Lance, Judgment at Nuremberg, and How the West Was Won. He worked alongside many of the biggest names in cinema, including Spencer Tracy, John Wayne, James Stewart, and Marilyn Monroe. Interestingly, Widmark once described Monroe as fragile and deeply afraid despite her fame and beauty. He said she often struggled with confidence on set, but looked wonderful once the cameras started rolling. These kind of observations showed Widmark's understanding of people beyond their public image. He knew Hollywood could be difficult and emotionally painful, especially for actors trying to survive under pressure. While he disliked laziness and ego, he still showed compassion toward people who were struggling. Outside of movies, Richard Widmark lived a surprisingly quiet and peaceful life. Unlike many stars who enjoyed parties and luxury, he preferred spending time with his wife Jean and their daughter Anne. Friends often described him as thoughtful, intelligent, and deeply loyal to the people he loved. He owned ranches and homes away from Hollywood, where he could escape the pressure of fame. Widmark never seemed fully comfortable with celebrity culture. He once said that actors could still live normal lives if they wanted to, showing that he believed fame should not control a person's character. This attitude separated him from many other stars of his generation. Throughout his life, he also experienced painful personal tragedies. During World War II, his younger brother Donald survived a terrible plane crash and spent time in a German prison camp after being captured. Although Donald returned home alive, his health never fully recovered. Years later, he died from a brain tumor at a very young age. Widmark was devastated by the loss and reportedly believed the government failed to understand how much suffering his brother experienced after the war. Not long after Donald's death, Widmark also lost his mother, creating another emotional blow. These experiences may help explain why he valued loyalty, seriousness, and honesty so strongly. Life had taught him that time was precious, and that people should not waste it behaving carelessly. Later in life, Widmark faced another heartbreaking challenge when his wife Jean was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Instead of continuing to chase movie roles, Widmark stepped away from acting to care for her full-time. For years, he stayed by her side as her condition slowly worsened. Friends admired his devotion and described it as one of the greatest acts of love they had ever seen in Hollywood. As the years passed, Richard Widmark slowly became less interested in filmmaking. By the late 1980s, he openly admitted that movies no longer excited him the way they once had. He complained about long hours on set and said he no longer wanted to spend entire days filming only a few minutes of footage. After decades in Hollywood, he had already achieved more than most actors could ever dream of. He appeared in over 70 films and built a reputation as one of the greatest tough guy actors in cinema history. Yet fame never completely changed him. He still joked about being cheap with money and laughed at strange encounters with fans who confused him with the dangerous characters he played on screen. One woman even slapped him in public because she hated one of his movie villains so much. Widmark found these moments funny rather than upsetting. In 1990, he received the D.W. Griffith Lifetime Achievement Award, one of the highest honors in the film industry. His close friend Sidney Poitier presented the award to him, creating one of the most emotional moments of his later years. The friendship between the two men remained strong for decades and reflected Widmark's true character far better than rumors about Hollywood feuds. After Jean passed away in 1997, Widmark's life changed forever. He later remarried actress Susan Blanchard, a longtime family friend, and spent his final years quietly in Connecticut. Even in old age, he remained respected by film historians and Western movie fans. In 2002, he was inducted into the National Cowboy Hall of Fame, honoring his many contributions to Western cinema. By then, Widmark had become more than just an actor. He had become a symbol of classic Hollywood professionalism and dedication. Richard Widmark passed away in 2008 at the age of 93, leaving behind one of the most respected careers in Hollywood history. While many people remember him for stories about actors he disliked, those rumors only reveal a small part of who he really was. At his core, Widmark was a man who loved acting deeply and believed movies should be made with honesty, discipline, and respect. His frustrations with certain stars came from disappointment, not cruelty. He simply could not understand why some talented actors treated filmmaking casually when he considered it an art form that demanded complete effort. In many ways, Widmark represented an older generation of Hollywood performers who believed hard work mattered more than fame. Today, audiences live in a world filled with celebrity gossip, social media attention, and constant publicity. Widmark belonged to a different era, where actors were expected to focus mainly on the craft itself. That is why his story still feels interesting today. He reminds people that talent alone is not enough without discipline and character. Even though some rumors about his Hollywood enemies may have been exaggerated over time, they continue to fascinate movie fans because they reveal the strong principles that guided his life. Widmark never tried to become the loudest star in Hollywood. He did not chase scandals or attention. Instead, he built his legacy through consistent performances, loyalty to family, and respect for his work. His life also carried deep emotional lessons about love, grief, aging, and sacrifice. From caring for his sick brother to standing beside his wife during her battle with Alzheimer's, Widmark showed strength far beyond what audiences saw on movie screens. In the end, Richard Widmark was not unforgettable because of the people he disliked. He was unforgettable because he stayed true to himself in an industry where many people lost their identity chasing fame. Perhaps the most surprising name connected to Richard Widmark's frustrations was Kirk Douglas. Both men were powerful actors with strong personalities, which may have been the reason tension existed between them. Douglas was known for his loud energy, dramatic performances, and desire to dominate scenes. Widmark reportedly believed Douglas tried too hard to steal attention in movies. While many audiences loved Douglas for his intense style, Widmark preferred a more controlled and natural performance. Stories from Hollywood suggested Widmark felt there was too much ego involved in some of Douglas's acting choices. Whether all these stories were true or exaggerated remains difficult to know, but they became part of Hollywood legend over the years. What is clear is that Widmark valued humility and professionalism above almost everything else. He respected actors who arrived on time, knew their lines, and worked together as a team. This philosophy shaped his entire career. Despite rumors about actors he disliked, Widmark continued building an impressive film career through the 1950s and 1960s. He starred in famous movies like Panic in the Streets, Broken Lance, Judgment at Nuremberg, and How the West Was Won. He worked alongside many of the biggest names in cinema, including Spencer Tracy, John Wayne, James Stewart, and Marilyn Monroe. Interestingly, Widmark once described Monroe as fragile and deeply afraid despite her fame and beauty. He said she often struggled with confidence on set, but looked wonderful once the cameras started rolling. These kinds of observations showed Widmark's understanding of people beyond their public image. He knew Hollywood could be difficult and emotionally painful, especially for actors trying to survive under pressure. While he disliked laziness and ego, he still showed compassion toward people who were struggling. Outside of movies, Richard Widmark lived a surprisingly quiet and peaceful life. Unlike many stars who enjoyed parties and luxury, he preferred spending time with his wife Jean and their daughter Anne. Friends often described him as thoughtful, intelligent,